Anyway, so on Saturday, Labour Against the Witch Hunt, I had two motions. One was about my kicking the Zionists out, and one was about twinning. And they've put both my motions after the one expelling me. So I think they're hoping to expel me, and they all get to go home early.
Right. Okay. So if they expel you, they don't get to. They don't have to hear your motions, because by that stage you will have been expelled.
Yeah, but the funny thing was, right? You know, this whole petition, the thing that started this whole thing off, Israel's a racist endeavour. I think I started on the 4th of September. I went to them on the 1st of December and said, well, you guys, because Labour Against Witch Hunt, they kept saying, we're not going to support it. And I said, why won't you support it? So finally I went to a members' meeting on the 1st of December, and I said, why won't you support it? And they said, well, you wrote it without asking us, you know. And I'd never even heard of you when I launched it. Never mind, if you're going to do anything, you need to speak to us first. Right, so I'm speaking to them first. I'm speaking to them on Saturday before I launch it on the Sunday. And if they don't like some of the aims and objectives, I'll take them out. So then I'll do something that they like. So then they haven't got an excuse for not supporting it. Mm-hmm. However, that was the plan. I'll go and show it to them on the Saturday, launch it on the Sunday, 12 noon in London, outside Labour headquarters, if any of your listeners want to join me. But now that's been a bit kibosh, because they're saying, all right, oh, well, you want to speak to us on Saturday? Well, we might have expelled you by then. You can't win, can you? I don't know. I'll see what happens. But I'm determined to try and get their support. And if they won't support me, I've got the Friends of Al-Aqsa, if you know who they are. They're interested in supporting it. And other groups I'll get on Sunday. I think I need to build, you need to build these things. But it's free to join. Anyone can join this anti-Zionist group. And we don't expel people. There's certain rules about expulsion, Mm-hmm. People can't have, because the thing about Labour Against the Witch Hunt is they're saying, okay, the members at the meeting are going to decide on expelling you. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. Lots of people, and there's a guy in Thailand that's in Labour Against the Witch Hunt that wants to come but can't. A guy in Liverpool wants to come but can't. Mm-hmm. They want to vote for me. What about them? Oh, we're not allowed to take their vote. We don't have any system for emails or anything else. So they won't, the only people they'll allow to vote is the 30 folk that turn up at their London meeting, who are largely friends of Jackie's and Tony's. So I mean, it's
essentially at that stage, though, Pete. You've just described to me a fucking popularity contest. Contest is what you've just described to me. That's not a democratic process on who should be fucking booted out of a party or not. So that's basically just a witch hunt from somebody calling themselves Labour Against the Witch Hunt.
So they've got 400 members, and if you're lucky, they'll have 40. And out of that 40, if only 21 decide I'm out, I'm out. What about the 400? They don't hear them because they live outside London. So their view doesn't count, which is pathetic, really. Anyway, democracy, eh? So yeah, in my group, there's going to be democracy. We can't expel people unless everyone votes online.
I want to, this meeting that's happening on Saturday, can it be filmed? Are you filming it?
Oh, no, do you want to know what's happening? Do you really want the film? Right, so when I heard...
I want a fucking copy of the film, is what I want.
Okay, as soon as I sniffed they were going to expel me, I thought, okay, this is a nasty business. And I said, well, do you mind if I record it? Because I want to have it recorded. I want to know. I want to write it up afterwards, and I want to understand why I've been expelled. And they, no, you can't record it. Well, the people there, they don't want to be identified. You can't record it. And I said, right. So, and they were then saying if I recorded it that I wouldn't be allowed in. And I'm saying, okay, well, I'll tell everyone that I know to record it. So somebody will maybe record it. I'm hoping that someone recorded it.
Pete, when this is Saturday, and what time is this?
1 o'clock on Saturday in London.
In London, and what's the address?
Well, they won't give out the address. You have to, because they do.
So it's Saturday somewhere in London. I'm sure that now, whatever you do, don't find out exactly where this is going to be on Saturday. If you're watching this, everybody, don't find out where that's going to be and go there and secretly record it and then send me the recording of it so I can publish it on this YouTube. Right. Okay. Don't do that, whatever you do, because I'll be really unhappy about that.
What I just say, it costs £10 to join Labour Against the Witch Hunt. I'm sure they'd be happy to have new members. And if you've joined, they'll tell you where the meeting is, because they're only going to release the location of the meeting on Friday. Because they do get these nasty types from GLM. The last time we had a meeting, they were harassed by these nutcases. So yeah, I can understand why they want to keep the meeting silent. Yeah. But they will tell folk the day before. So there'll be an email that goes out or something. So you know, and then you'll be able to go. I think the last time we met, we actually met in one place, and then he walked us in a sort of chain to another place, and even then there were people following us that were not very nice, that were trying to film us and stuff. It's pretty sort of nasty stuff. Well, you get this from extreme Zionists.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a subject that
yeah,
it gets people's.
Well, I mean, no, but there are nutcases out there that think that Labour Against the Witch Hunt, because they're people who are fighting anti-Semitism, they're people who are very, very, very pro-Israel, that hate them to bits and will do anything to get anyone. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't come to knock at my door yet, but they will, I'm sure, eventually. I'll get the biscuits out for them. But anyway, so the point being is they will try and keep it secret. But that's fair enough. But I think anybody that's going, if they record it, unless they do a strip search of everyone that's going in the door, they're not going to find the recording devices.
I'm just don't record it and send it to me. Don't do that, because I'll have to publish it.
Because this is about freedom of information, and they've said themselves, we want to be as free as open as possible. I say, fine, free and open. Let me put a camera on. People's arguments come out forever. People know who said what and where they stand, because that's what's important. You need to know why people are being expelled. If they're committed to freedom of speech, well, why not allow the world to see what they're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, what hope have we got of actually, you know, of seeing seeing a Palestine that's not, you know, being treated like. I mean, I've heard it called an open-air prison. It's not an open-air prison. Open-air prisons are far more luxurious than Gaza is. Far more. And that's not hyperbole. That's almost a cast-iron fact. You know,
and you don't get bombed regularly in an open-air prison, even if you do have your own
exactly.
weapons.
And you know, you've always got electric. You don't have to light candles for 16 hours a day because you've got no electric. You know, it really there is no hope. There is no hope if we are just going to shut down voices that are supportive of them. There really is no hope if we start doing that. So
Labour Against the Witch Hunt, it's like that Monty Python film, you know, The Life of Brian. You get the Judeans front and the People's front, and they all just keep splitting. And this is what the left does, and they keep splitting, and that's why they keep losing, because the right don't do that. You look at the right wing, you've got Michael Gove, Boris Johnson, you've got Theresa May, you've got a very wide range of views. But they don't kill each other. Kenneth Clarke, I'm reminded
of one of my great speeches, and my favourite speeches from TV. Actually, it was from an episode, the first episode of a program called The Newsroom, and I'm reminded of that great speech that what's his name, Jeff Bridges, I think, says in it, where he says, if the left are so damn good, then why do they lose so goddamn always? They just keep losing, and it really is because of this, you know, this sort of stuff, this nonsense where they're trying to shut down people's speech instead of actually promoting, you know, more speech and promoting.
I mean, I must say I'm not a Tory, because I think the Tory party tend to be a party of greed and conservatism and fear, but they are pretty good at embracing new ideas. I mean, Maggie picked up on this libertarian thing back in the late 70s. This is what the sort of black flag anarchist folk were doing. Suddenly, let's wither away the state. You know, Ted Heath wouldn't have done that. Maggie was in with some very radical ideas, and people went for them. So you have to understand that new ideas are important in politics, and shutting yourself down to new ideas is going to make you die. And that's
the problem with conservatives is they have got great ideas like neoliberalism. That's the problem with conservatives.
But I mean, but then people jump on things, don't they? But then, so people think, oh, that's something I want, and then they go from, they find out, well, it's crap actually. But it's like Brexit, you know, people don't understand really what it means because they get their news filters in all sorts of weird ways. There's a lot of stuff but the Tories don't expel each other. They actually are pretty broad church, you know, even if they've got some horrible racists in there, they don't expel them. Whereas Labour, I mean, I've talked to people about this. They say
it's really quite strange, that is. They've got some horrible racists in their party. The racism in the Tory party is statistically higher than anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. This has been actually studied. It's statistically higher. Yet they don't expel anybody, and it's not an issue at all, and nobody talks about it. It's really weird, that, isn't it?
People say the Labour Party is the party of social justice and the party of morality. And because it's the party of morality, it must seem to be, super clean. It's even more important than ever that they don't have a racist in. But then they've got the blinking Jewish labour movement, which is a whole racist movement embedded in its structure. But in a way, Labour thinks it's clean, but it isn't clean. It's as dirty as the others. But yeah, I think I understand why, people who are concerned about equality and equal rights and social justice, one would expect the party to have strong principles and people to break, if they break those principles, they shouldn't be in the party. And that's fair enough. But then who sets the rules, who makes the rules, and what principles are being broken, and how do they shut? I mean, I'm talking about whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is a great example, because in Scotland, I'm trying to set up a whistleblowing hotline for all NHS staff. Who is it that opposes it more than anybody? The unions. I want a mechanism for workers to be able to phone up someone in elected office eventually if they're being bullied for bad patient care, people getting badly treated or whatever. But unions hate it. And
why?
Why? Well, because unions are essentially guild clubs. They're there to protect one another. So quite often, if you're going to blow the whistle on somebody, you'll be blowing the whistle on somebody that's in the same union as you. And the union hates that, because they'll usually go with the one who's more senior. And they've got this horrible position of where they've got one person, as they call it, grassing on another. So they see this kind of betrayal, when in fact it's probably for better patient care. But you know what I mean? There's two ways of looking at all these things, and we don't like a snipe, someone who's causing trouble because such has done something. But that's why, the unions were the last people to be administering whistleblowing, because they do tend to protect more senior members. And it's even worse in Scotland, because they sit at the top table with management. So within the NHS in Scotland, you've got something called partnership, Tony Blair's help, which means that the unions and the management are joined at the hip. And so anything that upsets that is going to be crushed. So it's quite a story. But these are situations where you would expect a right-on group. But then the Labour Party is caught up in this too, because the unions control the Labour Party. Yeah. So I actually find the people who love the whistleblowing thing is, guess who? The Tories. My friends on whistleblowing, again and again, are the Tories. When I got kicked out of Edinburgh
people who are cheering on the jailing of Chelsea Manning at the moment.
Yes and no, not all the Tories are like that. So when I got fired,
very true.
When I got fired from Edinburgh Council for campaigning in my own time, my councillor, Tory councillor, who came to every single hearing and said, "This guy's got rights of freedom of speech. You can't do this." A Labour council just went ahead and expelled me anyway, because I was campaigning against them trying to close the school. And the Labour Party wanted to close the school, poorest school in the poorest part of the city, Castleberry High School. We won in the end. The school's still open. The Labour Party were told by the officers to close it, and the Labour Party always do what the officers do, what officers want. Because that's the other thing, is that Labour tends to do what officers want, whereas Tories are more assertive. They've been to public school. They don't get booted about by officers as civil servants in the same way. But that's where there's a lot to be talked about, how government works and how it doesn't work and how it should work. And all the things that happen. You can have a really radical group, really radical manifesto for Labour. Like in Edinburgh, they wanted to help co-ops. They got into office in 2012. 4 years later, there was less housing co-ops than when they started. Why? Because the officers hated co-ops, and they made sure that the policy went nowhere. So again and again, you look at in government, you'll find that officers have their own agenda, and officers make things happen. Not the politicians. They could do, but they don't. And certainly the Tories are much better at sort of managing civil servants than Labour is, because they've not been to public school. And the Labour Party, Labour councillor, very right on, faced with somebody who's been at public school, who's got a lot of confidence, makes good arguments, blah, blah, blah. And 9 times out of 10, the Labour politician will sort of crawl away eventually and let the fucking civil servant do what they want. That's why you've got trams in Edinburgh. You've got trams the size of Virgin trains going down Princes Street. Why? Because some bloody official needed it and wanted it. None of the councillors, none of the people wanted it.
We've got one in the middle of fucking Wolverhampton, mate. Yeah.
But these are mad council officers that do this. And that's what happens in this country, is we let bureaucrats run things.
Yeah, let's have a tram. They only built it about 20 years ago. Now 15 years ago, this tram in Wolverhampton. Let's have a tram, shall we? Let's go back to the 19th century way of travel, shall we?
I mean, trams. I think, you know, when I went to the council in 26, I was at the council and I said to the seniors, why are we wanting all this stupid trams? Why don't we get trolley buses like the Italians have? The Italians have buses on electric wires and they run around on rubber wheels and they're great. You know, they don't cost billions and they just travel around and they use electricity that comes off the grid and they have rubber wheels and they don't need special tracks. What's wrong with that? Oh no, we can't have that. Oh no, that's not special.
We need more speech is what we need, mate.
Try and get people to join the Labour Party, join Labour Against the Witch Hunt, get policies changed that you don't like. If they go and expel me, mass resignations, tell them all to piss off and come and join another organisation. You don't even have to pay to join this one I'm setting up. You can join for nothing.
Absolutely. Pete, best of luck to you, mate. And yeah, keep me informed on what happens on Saturday and what nonsense you endure over the weekend.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, Gordon. Good
Take care, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and click the bell below so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. If you click the links on the screen as well through to my website, you can find out ways to support me. I can't do this without your help, and I really do appreciate it. Thanks very much for all your support, and until next time, peace and take care.